Welcome to Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative and holistic solutions to better health and wellness through intentional living. Now, here's your host, Marsha Roopchand-Walker.
Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in on another episode of Health Coach for Women, a podcast where we explore alternative and holistic solutions to better health and wellness. And I'm your host, Marsha. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Now, before we get started, I'd like for you to go ahead and hit that like button, share, and subscribe. And of course, I always have a quote for you, and it's as it relates to today's topic. All right. So this quote is, rescuing someone who continues to make poor choices is not called love. It's called enabling. Stop enabling and refuse to be a safety net so they can grow up. Now, it doesn't say who this is by, but I like this quote. This is today's topic. Okay. Do you find yourself enabling? Do you find yourself enabling other people? Or are you the one that likes to be enabled? Think about that. Now, so I want to talk about this topic because, you have people who are energy vampires, money vampires, just that seems to just drain you, right? So you may know people like that, and hopefully you're not one of those people, but you may know people like that where you may be the person that's find yourself always saying yes, right? Always saying yes to help other people and to please other people. And in the process, what you do is starting your own progression and your own wellness and abundance. All right. So what am I saying? What am I saying? You can find yourself sometimes trying to be everything to everyone and always trying to please people, even when you know it's not feasible for you to do so. Even though it may be something that is against your morals and beliefs, even when it is something that you just may not have the time to do it, even when it means sacrificing your own wellness or your own mental health or sacrificing your own personal time away from your family, right? So there are times that we need to do something and we can do it when we can help other people. By all means, yes, we can be help and support to other people, right? But we do not want to become a lifetime crutch, a lifetime enabler for someone because they don't learn that way. And all it does is for that person to continue to be, for you to enable them into getting what they want, right? So it can be anything. It can be a favor as far as lending money, borrowing items, whatever it is. It can be anything, right? But you have to remember that people are entitled to making their own choices, right? People are entitled to making their own choices. And when they make those choices, whether it is a good choice or a not so good choice, they have to suffer the consequences. And so in that decision making and choice making, we can't always be there to bail someone out, right? Sometimes we can, and sometimes we need to because again, life happens, right? But again, it is a case by case basis, right? You understand and know the difference between someone who may be in a bind one time or another and may need help versus the individual who is always in a bind consistently and does nothing to change it and repeats the pattern of that behavior, negative behavior, of being dependent on someone, whether it's financially, or emotionally. Sometimes people can be emotionally draining, right? They want to bear and bear all their sorrow of their whatever, maybe bad relationship or bad career choice or whatever it is, you know. Sometimes people want to dump all of their emotional baggage, and in the process of doing so, it can impact our own wellness. So sometimes we need to set those boundaries. We need to set boundaries and make it very clear. Okay. We need to set boundaries and make it clear. All right. And so, again, like I said, you may have people who may reach out to you all the time asking you for money, at one time. Okay, one time if you can help somebody out. But if you find yourself where they're always reaching out to you several times in a week, and always wanting to borrow money, then you kind of have to learn how to say no. Okay, you kind of have to learn how to say no, because again, you're not teaching them anything. You can empower someone rather than enable them, right? They may not want to hear it, but it's better for them. So they can be more empowered by you telling them no versus you telling them yes and giving them what they want all the time. The behavior and behavioral patterns will not change unless you change, unless you yourself tell the person, no, I am no longer doing this. I'm no longer, you're going to set these clear boundaries and I'm not going to be able to do this. And you don't really have to give someone an explanation as to why. If you want to, sure, you can. You let them know in a nice way. You know, it's doing more damage by me enabling you than and I can support you in another way. I can support you in another way, but I cannot continue to go on giving and giving and giving, okay, and getting nothing in return. Not that we do something to get something in return, but to continuously give, draining all our energy and all our finances into the individual who chooses not to take action for themselves. Um, you do not inspire, you do not empower anyone by doing so, right? So what are some ways that we can really in a gentle way have someone to set those boundaries, right? Honor your yeses and also honor your nos. Honor your yeses as well as your nos. Okay. Now it's okay again to be of support for someone else, right? And letting them know you love them and you support them in whatever they're doing. And if there's something that you don't support and you don't agree with, you should definitely also voice your opinion on that, right? Opinion is just an opinion, right? And a person may or may not agree with you on that, because sometimes people will not realize that they have a behavior, a pattern, or a pattern or behavior that is not conducive and beneficial to their own personal development. All right. So a person may not realize that their pattern of behavior is not conducive and beneficial to their lifestyle, right? To their personal development. Okay, a perfect example, I'm just going to give an example of a person, an alcoholic, right? A person who drinks alcohol consistently on a daily basis. Um, and when they get paid, they blow their money. Um, they don't have money towards the bills, towards the household bills. They neglect their family. They neglect their family obligations and duties as to whatever they're supposed to bring to the household and being present, right? So someone like that, right? You have to find a way, right? And so there's nothing that you can do as far as to try to force someone to change. A person have to change on their own, but it is you or what you do, how you react and respond to a situation that matters, that can change the outlook or the perspective towards the other person, right? So you don't want to continue engaging in the pattern of continuously supporting that person financially for them to continue uh, drinking alcohol on a regular basis where it is impacting the household, right? So you have to take action, whether it's now you regain control of the finances or what have you, right? So we need to do that. What about a family member or a friend who may be just as irresponsible with money, right? They're not responsible with money. So as soon as they get paid, they're broke. They don't have any money. But they every week or every other pay week, they consistently wants to borrow, and sometimes they don't pay it back. Sometimes they may not always pay it back. You may feel comfortable doing that if they're always making sure that they pay you back, but maybe you don't want to. Maybe it's not something that you want to do, right? And if it's something that you feel uncomfortable with and you don't want to do it, then it's okay not to do it. You don't have to feel obligated to appease other people, is my point. All right, you don't have to feel obligated into doing something for someone else if you don't want to, right? Um, and especially if it's something where a person needs to grow and develop on their own, you need to be able to be there for them, help them, and support them, but being able to not enable the person as well, right? Not being an enabler, okay?
If you are struggling with health issues like chronic pain, being held back by past traumas, or feeling overwhelmed and hopeless, please know there is hope. There is help. Transcendence, a woman's guide to healing and self-love for better health, happiness, and abundance, is a blueprint to help you get your life back and reclaim your health. Within its pages, you'll learn how to elevate your existence by shifting your mindset toward the positive, focusing your energy on what's really important, using gratitude to feel deep appreciation, changing your gene expression through epigenetics, building resilience, and living in a state of flow, feeling love overflow within. Go beyond an ordinary life. Transcend. Buy it now.
So an enabler, so an enabler is a person who encourages or in someone's negative or self-destructive behaviors, as I mentioned, uh, in another person, right? So me knowing someone who loves to gamble and loves to gamble and blow their money away every week. And I know that they have a wife and family, yet I still give them money in their hands to blow it away rather than giving it to the wife so that she can go ahead and make sure that the bills is paid and taking care of the household bills. I'm just using that as an example, right? So we don't want to be an enabler. We need to be able to empower people, right? And so how can we empower someone? How can we empower someone who has these negative patterns or negative behaviors? The first thing is that the person must realize that they have this pattern or behavior, right? They must come to their own level of awareness. Now, yes, we can say no and refrain from doing anything and giving them anything, right? We can refrain from that. But what is a way that they can be impacted on a great deal, a great level, right? And sometimes it can take you just saying no. Sometimes it will require that tough love of not answering your phone, not responding to their text messages, right? Just maybe go silent on them, right? Go ghost, as they say, right? So we have to sometimes do the hard things in order for change to come, positive change, in order to affect positive change, we need to be able to do that. We need to be able to do it and not feel guilty about it. Okay, we need to be able to do something and not feel guilty about it. Okay, and it's also another thing. I mean, this can also relate to children, right? Continuously supporting your children and doing things for your children where they continuously burn you, right? And yet you feel it because it's your child, you need to help them and you're not teaching them anything by continuously enabling. They do not learn responsibility. They won't learn responsibility. They feel that you will always be there to bail them out, and they don't grow and learn and mature as they should. Because what life skills are they learning when you continuously is there to bail them out? Now, again, everyone's viewpoint and values and upbringings is different, right? So again, it would go by a case basis, but in general, for the most part, a lot of young folks today, a lot of them feel very entitled, right? Very entitled, and think just because, okay, now I've earned this degree that you told me to get. And so, and even though the parent helped them along the way because that was the reward, right? The reward was go to school, get your education, get your degree, and you will be rewarded with this. And then sometimes it can carry on into adulthood or even after that person may have completed college, right? And to continue to engage in being supportive, and there's nothing wrong with being supportive, but also where they are finding it hard and difficult to say no, right? They find it difficult and hard to say no. And that can stem from various different things, right? That can stem from either their own past childhood experiences or maybe their own experiences raising that child growing up. Maybe there wasn't there as much and they wasn't present. And so now they feel the guilt where they need to make up for it. So people do things for different reasons, right? But you have to be aware. Again, so it all falls back on awareness. You have to be aware and what you are doing and why you are doing it. Have to be aware of what you are doing and why you are doing it. And then you have to ask yourself and be totally honest. How does this pattern and the way that I support them in this way, how does it really benefit and serve them in a greater way throughout life? And so you have to be real with yourself and realize and recognize when it is enabling versus support, right? And so you can determine the difference. You can determine the difference, right? So you have to look at those, there's different various factors, right? That comes into play when you are enabling other people, right? And sometimes kids may throw a guilt trip at you, or they may say things, right? Or do things to make you feel guilty, right? And so, because remember, kids and people, they can manipulate. So you have to be very mindful, be mindful and aware of who you are, as well as who they are. And this could be family, friends, co-workers, people in general, right? So it only serves you in the best way when you can honor your no's, right? Value and honor your no's as well as your yeses. And it's perfectly fine. But we need to set those clear boundaries, because what's the most important thing is having a good relationship, right? Having a good relationship where you can communicate and openly talk about things, openly discuss things, and share your ideals as well as your opinions, right? Again, opinions Everyone has an opinion. It's not always going to be the same. Everyone is going to have different ideals and values and beliefs and perceptions, and that's okay. So you can respectfully agree to disagree. Okay. So remember, you set boundaries, set clear boundaries, because you don't want to be the one that's where you're always trying to be the people pleaser, and the only one getting the short end of the stick is you. So if you're the one getting the short end of the stick, you're being stressed out by trying to serve other people in such a way, in such a way like this, where you are constantly enabling someone financially. Um, your mental health matters, right? Your financial wellness matters. Your physical and emotional wellness matters, right? And so you don't want to be drained and depleted of your energy. You don't want to be drained and depleted of your energy. And so it is important to be clear on what you want and what you expect from those other people. You have to be clear. You have to set those rules and be very clear. Now, and I say all of this to say, when you honor your no's, when you honor your yeses as well as your no's, when it's time to set those boundaries and say no confidently, you will gain a newfound level of respect. You will gain a newfound level of respect. Now, some may not be too pleased by that because they're not able to manipulate and get what they want, and that's okay. But for the most part, you will gain a level of respect where that person can really respect you in a way and make it with your own decision making. Okay. So you gain respect as well as you increase your time management, right? So now you're no longer wasting time, hours on the phone with someone begging you for money and all the reasons why they need it, when you know the real reason is maybe they want to just go buy weed, right? Or buy a case of beer, whatever it is, right? So you also alleviate yourself from stress and burnout. You alleviate yourself with stress and burnout when you can confidently honor your no's. All right. And that's good for yourself as well as those around you. Okay. You can improve your relationships. You can improve your relationship with that person when you set those clear boundaries because you have this now new level of respect. You can have an improved relationship, right? And it can be also increased opportunities for growth. Maybe this can be their wake-up call. Maybe by you showing them the tough love, maybe this can be an eye opener for them where they can now have this increased opportunities for growth for themselves. And maybe it will give them new ideas for goals, interests, and learning how to become more responsible. Okay. Um, and it helps with the decision making, right? Helping them with decision making, learning how to make better choices, right? As well as that personal empowerment. The person can feel so empowered when they can identify and know who they are and where they are in life, and giving them some grace if they're not where they want to be. All right. They can also be gentle and not so hard on themselves, but give themselves grace in where they are in the present moment. So this is what I wanted to cover. I wanted to cover this topic today. That is all I have for you for now. I hope you have been taking those walks out in nature. Guys, the weather is nice now, right? So if you're somewhere where you have consistent, nice, hot weather all the time, that's beautiful. But if you're somewhere like me where we have the 4 seasons, the weather is getting nicer and nicer. So get out there and enjoy the moment, right? Get out there and get your vitamin D in the sun, right? Get your vitamin D. Get out and connect in nature, right? And so if you watched last week's episode, It was just beautiful being in the park. And this was a different place where I've never been before. It's called the Rookery, right? And so it's a place in Ohio, and I forget the county, but it was very nice. Just a nice walk in the park. I mean, and seeing the lilies and the frog jump back in the water and the turtle picking his head out the water and the snake on the ground. Not a fan of snakes, but you know, it was just a beautiful scenery of peace and tranquility. So get out more, get out in the sunshine, be grateful, be appreciative. Don't judge yourself so harshly, right? If you're looking to do better, just be better. Do what you need to do, right? Let's stop making excuses, right? Life is what you make it. Remember that. Life is what you make it. Every day may not be peaches and cream. Every day may not be like that, but it's only for a temporary feeling that you may have and you experience. It's only temporary. And so you just go through it and weather the storm and find things that make you feel more alive and happy and rejuvenated. Whatever it is, your hobby, whatever, maybe it's just getting out in nature. For me, it's just getting out in nature, right? Um, do the things that make you happy. Stop making excuses. Do the things that make you happy. Live your life like it's your last. Live every day like if it's your last moment. All right. And so I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, hit that like button, share, and subscribe. And I hope to see you next week. Until next time, stay healthy, stay well. Bye for now.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Health Coach for Women with Marsha Roopchand-Walker. If you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we greatly appreciate it. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.